now our first shooter stage, which, as I said in the last Let's Play, replaced Gamma's stage as the shooter segment. Tails and Eggman's levels are mostly scored based on the big number of enemies that you can kill in one go. The more points you get. And generally, the better part of your score is going to come from that. Tails and Eggman's levels are also good for getting Chaos Drives if you don't like how certain animal parts look. I should prioritize red ones, and that cog is nearly at the end of his growth. I don't know if the scoring system counts things that don't actively tick up the multiplier counter, things like the security cameras, but I think they do. Someone in the comment section wants to correct me on that. And now, all three hero characters have access to the Chao. Another important lesson is don't wait too long to fire either, even if you're trying to rack up big combos, because then you'll get hit like an idiot. AKA me. Thankfully, Tails and Eggman can get hit with zero rings and survive. The biggest difference, however, is that they have a health bar down at the bottom, and the pips fill up gradually as you collect rings. So it'll actually restore health over time, just by you continuing to play the stage. Now, of note, if there was one thing I wish they had done differently in regards to these stages, the whistling sound that the laser makes while you're firing is way louder than it has any right to be. I've learned to tune it out after all these years, but I think it's one of those fair complaints that people leverage against these levels. Well, honestly, I still enjoy them for what they are, so not really of the same mind frame as a lot of modern reviewers that try to say that only Sonic and Shadow's levels are any good. I don't believe that's a fair thing to say. Oh, that could have been bad. Thank goodness for handrails, am I right? Could have gotten another one in that combo. Oh well. Since certain doors won't open until all enemies are destroyed anyway, there's really no harm in just making sure that you get everything. As said, sometimes you just gotta be thorough. Red. Oh, a downside is sometimes red drives look like purple drives and vice versa. There is a power-up in that room over there on the side, but we can't get it right now, so we'll come back for it later. And like in Sonic Adventure, we get emblems for clearing levels. We'll also get them for clearing additional missions, as every mission has 5. They vary a bit depending on level and character. And since this is the odd drive out, we'll just give it to the Taco. There you go, buddy. Right now he's asleep, but we can annoy him a bit and wake him up anyway. Now he'll be pretty mad about this for a while, but we're about to give him a ton of items, so it should hopefully help him forgive us a little. And plus, if he's undisturbed for long enough, he'll eventually just get over it and go back to sleep. The more items you give a Chao, the more they like the character, obviously. The more you pet them or cuddle them, all the more so. It's sort of like a virtual pet.
Everything will be okay.
But he's still going to be pretty mad at me. Yeah.
Everything will be okay. Everything
I'm
will
sorry.
be okay. Everything will be okay.
Let's see if I can't give him something to eat. Oh. As said, Kaga is the older Chao, and has already gone from child to adult. Taku will probably do that not too long after, as he's only about 15-20 minutes younger. Hopefully we'll get to see that in this playthrough.
Everything will be okay.
Yeah, he has no interest in forgiving me right now.
Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay.
I'll make it up to you.
Huh? Amy?
Keep your voice down. Have no fear. Amy Rose is here.
How'd you get here?
Well, if you gotta know, I caught a ride with Tails.
Gojira.
Are you sure you don't need my help? It looks like you could use it.
The reason I'm in here is because of that fake hedgehog.
You mean that black hedgehog?
Did you see it? Where is it now?
If
not
I tell you,
it.
will you marry me?
No way!
I thought I had you this time.
If the roles were reversed right there, that would have been, viewed as creepy instead of endearing. It's still creepy, who am I kidding?
Came here with Dr. Eggman.
So, Eggman's behind this, huh?
What's all that writing on the wall anyway? Did you write that?
Don't think he's been in there long enough to write
Wait
all
for
that.
me, Sonic. He's such a brat sometimes.
Somehow, Sonic just doesn't strike me as being much of a math nerd. And in addition to having really good music, this was actually the first level of the game I ever played. If you're wondering how that's possible, it's because I actually first played the game at a demo stand. And this level sounded cool, so I decided to try it. And I died. And you'll see why here in a little bit. But first, we get Sonic's first upgrade. Lightspeed Dash functions more or less as it did in the first game, except instead of charging it up, you just tap a button and take off. Now this isn't perfect. There are some instances where you'll think you're going down a line of rings and the Lightspeed Dash will just take you down 2 or 3 rings and then throw you off to the side. But generally, it's not prone to getting you killed, at least not much. Oh, come on.
Missile launch in 15 seconds. 10, 9,
This is where I died.
7,
I couldn't get up this scaffolding fast enough, and the rocket killed me. It didn't actually dampen my impressions of the game. I was still very much impressed. It was more a matter of, oh, okay, this isn't the first level of the game, and therefore it's a little bit tougher than I expected. Oops. If you need to slow down during that bit, you can jump a bunch and it will slow you down, which I find is more or less mandatory.
Yes!
Metal, however, grades you very, very harshly. I think the only way to get an A rank here is if you get the perfect ring bonus.
Just made it.
Oh, it could have been worse.
Phew. So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh? You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words.
So you might have noticed Shadow's lips stop moving after that ha. Well, in the Japanese, that's where his line actually ends, and there's this awkward, stilted pause. In the American version, they just talk over each other.
Oh, I see. So you're not just a hedgehog.
It's a little strange no matter what. Also, Big the cat's down that little vent. I should have stopped and looked at that, but that's where he is. And that fight's fairly simple. You just kind of aim for their back, and generally he's not defensive enough to really block you very much.
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up?
So going back to my story about the demo stand, the second level in the game that I tried was this one, under the understanding that forests don't blow up. And then the game tells me to get out of the forest before it blows up. Naivete. Now, the 8 minutes is way more than you actually need, realistically. It's a pretty generous timer. It's really just to kind of give you some incentive to go quickly. Oops. Whoa, that could have been bad. For several paths through this stage, I actually think it's one of the more interesting and dynamic stages because of it. Whoops. Almost missed that. And like I said, the lightspeed dash gets confused sometimes. You guys like Chao, right? Of course you do. Big shocker, I know. The guy who loves monster games is totally in love with Chao. He still might be in heart. There is a way to make this bungee jumping segment go longer, but honestly, it usually just gets you hurt. we're out. 5 minutes to spare.
That was cool!
Now, Cog might have gone back to sleep, in spite of us. So instead of bothering him this time, I want to talk about this a little bit. The Chao Departure Machine was not the Chao Departure Machine in previous incarnations of this game. In the Dreamcast version, this was actually the VMU monument, which would allow you to transport Chao between the game and the VMU, or the memory card of the Dreamcast. In the GameCube version, this will allow you to connect it to a Game Boy Advance, being one of the few GameCube titles compatible with that link cable. I did this myself, as I actually had some of the Sonic Advance games, and you could get some pretty cool stuff for doing so. But I'm not going to bother. I don't want to accidentally change Tutaku's alignment before it's time for him to grow up, so I'm just going to drop off those items and let them disappear. Now it's time for everyone's favorite level.
This place sure feels haunted. There's no time to lose. I have to hurry and find the Master Emerald.
Before we do anything, though, we get Knuckles' first upgrade, the Shovel Claw, which actually is a little easier to use in this game, honestly. Instead of pushing 2 buttons at the same time, you are instead supposed to simply jump and then tap the action button, which will make him drill into the ground and hit anything beneath him. Makes it much more utilitarian, and it operates as an attack. For jerks like that. Getting back to it, there's 3 mountains here, and generally the emeralds are scattered across them all. That over there, I believe, is the Graveyard Mountain, this is the Church Mountain, and the one we just departed was the Train Mountain. Here we can actually find ghost animals as well, which are new to Sonic Adventure 2, as there were no ghost animals in the first. We're going to take a little rocket ride to run the mountain a little bit faster.
It's closer.
I didn't want that hint, thank you. The hints reduce your time bonus on a regardless basis. I didn't mean to take that hint, it just sort of happened because I was in proximity. Another ghost animal is the bat, which makes our Chao lose its legs. I actually think the effect is kind of cool, to be honest. Quick way of dealing with ghosts is simply to shovel claw them. Didn't want to do that. Thank you. Camera. Time narrowing this one down. Nice. Now there is something I want to show off over here, even if the emerald isn't in this area. Arguably the most important thing in the stage, even. Position here. There he is. Big the Cat. Everyone was dying to know what happened to him after the end of the first game, since he was everyone's favorite storyline. But he's just traveling the world right now, you know, coming to poke his head out to see his friends. He is a good guy. Ah, finally got a signal. And I immediately lose it. Really? Aha, we have our answer. And all it's going to take is a little excessive force.
It's closer.
No matter what upgrades you get, you cannot punch through those weird steel bars, even though structurally speaking they'd be less burdensome than the metal crates we can later smash.
Yeah, I feel good.